Hello, my name is Nadia Bodkin, and I have the honor of speaking with all of you today about how and why one should value patient data through mutually beneficial collaborations. A little about me before I begin. I'm a founding member of the Rare Advocacy Movement. I am also a serial entrepreneur and the current founder of a couple corporations that are doing well in their startup phases. By way of education, I am a PharmD with an MS in genetics. However, that is not the reason I have found myself engulfed in rare disease matters. In fact, my rare disease passion stems from being a rare disease person myself. I was born with three rare genetic disorders, and as a result, I live in continuous physical pain. I am epileptic. I struggle to walk without my braces. I manage a string of symptoms on a daily basis, but I have not allowed my condition to stop me from accomplishing what I put my mind to. And if there is one message that I am to leave you all with today, it would be that I am not unique. In fact, I am just one person from a global community of rare disease focused advocacy leaders dedicated to serving the rare disease community's interests. Within the global rare disease community, there are several different types of advocacy leaders. One of the most common types of advocacy leaders you will find in the rare disease landscape is the disease specific advocacy leader. These individuals are often experts that have mastered the understanding of the dynamics from within a disease specific community and now have a 360 perspective of that disease specific space. Another type of advocacy leader is what the rare leadership community has dubbed an industry advocate. Industry advocates are individuals that engage with members of a disease specific community for the primary purpose of professionally serving the interests of a rare disease focused stakeholder that has employed them. And finally, a third type of advocacy leader is the comprehensive rare disease community expert. Comprehensive rare disease community experts are community-based advocates that have navigated several disease-specific communities, ultimately obtaining a 360 perspective of the greater rare disease landscape. Comprehensive rare disease community experts are not as abundant as the other types of advocates because until the development of RAM, there really wasn't a place that fostered the development of professionalizing well-rounded rare disease community experts that have mastered identifying the various dynamics of the rare disease ecosystem, irrespective of disease type. So what is RAM? In short, RAM is a rare disease community leadership network bound to a moral code and founded on the premise of developing mutually beneficial collaborations between rare disease community leaders, influencers, experts, and other rare disease stakeholders with the goal of developing insightful publications and meaningful programs that we have dubbed RAM collaborations. However, at its essence, RAM is a group of rare disease community experts. As you see on the slide, we have a total of 16 members at the current moment that seek to become comprehensive rare disease community experts through the development of meaningful programs and insightful publications in a variety of forms, all of which provide industry stakeholders with unadulterated community insights. Before I get into the topic at hand, I want to bring your attention to some of the current RAM collaborations that are taking place within the network. You can also visit www.rareadvocacymovement.com, click on collaborations from the menu, and read about each of the RAM collaborations in more detail. So in this colorful visual, you can see the variety of RAM collaborations that have developed over the past few years, with the one in gold being the one that is most applicable to today's discussion of valuing patient data through mutually beneficial collaborations. The RAM collaboration titled Rare 360, Comprehensive Rare Disease Experts, began as a working group that conducted research to identify the role of the patient advocacy expertise and influence in the digital health environment. The group evaluated insights from recruitment experts, community managers, commercialization partners, etc. The insights extracted from that research was then utilized to develop the program Rare 360. The Rare 360 program facilitates a vital partnership between those within the network that effectively qualify as comprehensive rare disease experts and digital health platforms seeking to ultimately obtain unadulterated community insights for the purposes of informing the development of various therapeutic products. As per all of the RAM collaborations taking place, There are three motivating values that drive our team's efforts. One being the motivation to protect the interests of the patient community as we facilitate connections with various stakeholders throughout the rare disease ecosystem. The second motivation being to take those connections and turn them into mutually beneficial collaborative opportunities, also known as RAM collaborations, always keeping the best interests of the community at the heart of each program and initiative. And the third motivation being to stay true to the code of conduct that all RAM members must agree to abide by before being accepted into the group as a member. That code of conduct is made readily available at RAM's website because it is a public commitment that has been made by each RAM member to the greater rare disease community. Now, why is this so important? Over the past 10 to 15 years, the FDA has increasingly encouraged inclusion of the patient perspective in drug development, which has resulted in a marketing term that we all have heard on several occasions, patient centricity. In order to obtain accurate evidence, expectations, appropriate clinical outcomes, and realistic clinical trial designs, accurate, unadulterated insights must be obtained from the community and implemented into program designs and strategies. Now, for the past 10 years, the biopharmaceutical space has embraced the concept of being patient focused, but despite all of the heavy spending on recruitment strategies and clinical trial design, according to a 2020 Tufts report, 2/3 of sites don't meet their enrollment goals. That is a 16% increase from 3 years ago. Now, why is this happening? It's because industry stakeholders are making the same common mistakes. Not obtaining a landscape analysis of the rare disease advocacy environment that is being considered prior to choosing it as an indication can set a rare disease focused company back exponentially. A landscape analysis is a community insight report that can only be done by an expert that is truly knowledgeable. Otherwise, a report is developed that is complete with misinformation and filtered through a lens of misunderstandings. The second major mistake several industry stakeholders make is not establishing a corporate infrastructure that values patient advocacy insights from the community. Patient advocacy is more than just a glorified communications and PR position. Patient advocacy is a delicate position that all rare disease stakeholders need to take seriously when deciding who to hire as their community-facing personnel. A corporate infrastructure that values patient advocacy also establishes a budget that allows the corporate advocacy team to run important community-facing campaigns and programs by KOLs and community advocacy experts before they are launched. When industry advocates are not provided the budgets that allow them to consult with community advocacy experts, they are left having to guess on the development of community-facing websites, initiatives, campaigns, and programs, which lead us to the next common industry mistake: not supporting the diversification of rare disease insights, nor the equitable distribution of community-based programs and opportunities. Most rare disease trials predominantly recruit rare disease people that self-identify as white. This is in large part because the insights obtained to design these trials are extracted from the current rare disease patient advocacy environment, which is racially siloed. This disrupted dynamic not only harms the diverse community of rare disease people of color, but also contributes to the development of incomplete, inaccurate data sets because of the lack of diverse inclusion of all types of people. The RAM collaboration Our Lives Matter DEI initiative has developed a compilation of diversity, equity, inclusion programs designed specifically to address the racially siloed nature of the current rare disease advocacy environment and is currently providing actionable solutions to the biopharmaceutical stakeholders with a specific focus on rare diseases. For those interested in learning more about the Our Lives Matter DEI programs, you are encouraged to reach out to RAM. RAM's email will be provided at the end of this presentation. The rare disease community must be seen as more than just a group of patients and caregivers. Instead, members of industry must start to see and treat members of the rare disease community as valuable stakeholders. And like all valuable stakeholder relationships, trust is required in order to obtain meaningful insights. This is what makes the Rare Advocacy Movement Network so valuable. A majority of community advocacy experts have a personal rare disease story that serves as a permanent link to the greater community, which ultimately serves as the flicker of trust that allows community advocates to even be able to navigate the community as those of us in RAM do, irrespective of personality differences. And this is because the rare disease experience is something that no one could possibly ever truly understand unless experienced. Whether you're a caregiver, care partner, or a person with a rare condition, the diagnostic odyssey, the lack of understanding and empathy from the healthcare industry, the limited availability of solutions that improve overall quality of life, quite honestly, the list goes on. But the bottom line is that the rare disease experience has a permanent impact on an individual that cannot be undone, and the experience develops an organic level of camaraderie amongst rare disease community members that, if nurtured, becomes strong and deep rooted. So here's a list of objectives that are incorporated into each RAM collaboration. Developing trust-based systems between the advocacy community and other stakeholders, identifying synergistic, mutually beneficial outcomes for all stakeholders involved, respectfully leveraging the authentic connection of advocacy experts to the community, and identifying meaningful engagement and retention tactics for the sake of boosting both the quantity and quality of data collection. As Warren Buffett put it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. So we honor and respect the trust afforded to us by the community as RAM members by vetting various stakeholders through the execution of RAM collaborations. As most of you are already aware, it takes the efforts of a village to develop a rare disease therapeutic product. In fact, there are 12 different types of rare disease stakeholders directly involved in bringing rare disease therapeutics to the market. And as each stakeholder becomes better and better at defining their role within the drug development continuum, one constant remains: the need for accurate community insights from that 360 perspective. Accurate, unadulterated community insights are required when designing clinical trials with reduced burden, recruitment strategies with an accurate outcome, retention strategies that reflect realistic expectations, and content development during commercialization. One of the main reasons RAM was founded is so that the appropriate steps are taken to ensure that community insights are not misrepresented nor miscommunicated. This slide is important because it shows how quickly misinformation spreads throughout the rare disease ecosystem. There are probably even some presentations today that will reference the false statistic that either 50% or more than half of rare diseases affect children. Now, according to the census, only 25.7% of the US population is under the age of 18 years of age. 6.8% is under 5 years of age. If 1 in 10 Americans have a rare condition, it is literally impossible for half of all rare disease cases to be that of children. These fake statistics hurt the real people of the rare disease community. And as a result, through the RAM collaboration Adults Living Rare, RAM is making a concerted effort to correct misinformation regarding the rare disease advocacy environment because it results in the spread of skewed perceptions of the real world rare disease landscape. These are 2 of 5 rare disease statistics that have been derived from 2019 World Census and Orphanet data reports and published via RAM's websites and social media platforms. As members of RAM, the Adults Living Rare collaboration felt it had a duty to the community to correct this inaccuracy and start legitimizing the conversation that needs to be had regarding the impact of rare conditions on adults, as well as continue the efforts to support children with rare diseases. However, once rare disease children become adults, as 70% of rare diseases are exclusively pediatric onset, there needs to be a more concerted effort to develop transitionary healthcare programs. Currently, as made apparent in the results of the Adults Living Rare survey, rare disease people 18 years of age and older feel abandoned. The rare advocacy movement is dedicated to working with various stakeholders on addressing current silos and the marginalized groups of people impacted and left out by these silos. To connect with experts that manage the Adults Living Rare collaboration, please be sure to note Ram's email found at the conclusion of this presentation. Rare 360 Comprehensive Rare Disease Experts is a RAM collaboration that took key insights from the Our Lives Matter DEI initiative, the fair market value of rare disease community insights and expert collaboration, the Adult Living Rare collaboration, and the Valuing Patient Data Working Group, and developed a program designed specifically for the digital health industry. The biotech industry spends billions developing new treatments in rare diseases on an annual basis, where only about 5% of conditions have a cure. As a result, the rare disease patient advocacy community has professionalized and organized to contribute to accelerating research. Yet, drug development is still way too slow, yields few treatments, and suffers from poor patient engagement. Over the past decade, however, the role of the digital health industry in clinical research has grown, offering new opportunities to accelerate the development of new treatments. Digital health companies seek and leverage data contributed by the community, which has given rise to a digital health economy with data as its currency. Digital health companies have developed features that automate and scale healthcare processes. The scope of the digital health disruption is broad and covers many use cases from EMRs to telehealth to remote patient monitoring tools, etc. Digital health is already large today. In a post-COVID world, it is poised to keep growing. A select group within the RAM network saw how vital it was to develop a program that provided the digital health space with a path to earning the trust of rare disease communities and the insights required to develop relevant engagement strategies. The industry is made up of mostly private for-profit companies, typically backed by venture capital. Most of these companies have an element of risk as they usually disrupt their target use cases with new digital capabilities and often create new business models, which is why RAM developed the Rare 360 program. In the digital health economy, health data is generated, processed, sold, and bought by the various stakeholders of healthcare. No patient means no data. Digital health companies require strong commitment to patients to drive acquisition, maximize usage and retention of patients who use their tools. To be effective at patient engagement, they must overcome two sets of issues: trust and patient centricity. Digital health companies must approach the rare patient world carefully. Barriers to engagement are dependent on several factors that include age, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic resources, family structures, and more. Additionally, deciding which data points to track based on industry or research needs, as well as relevancy to patient needs, requires the expertise of comprehensive rare disease advocates. Without accurate, unadulterated insights, translating the patient experience into meaningful data is unlikely. The Rare 360 program connects digital health platforms with comprehensive advocacy experts that have the skill sets to drive and leverage the growth of the digital health economy. So for those of you in the digital health space who truly want to engage the community and obtain valuable insights, it is vital that you understand how to budget appropriately for it. On this slide, you will find a screenshot of the National Health Council's published fair market values for various patient advocacy participants. As a starting point, advocates in the rare disease space are now utilizing the National Health Council's concluded fair market value ranges as a method to guide their own compensation rates or the total donation amount requested in exchange for community insights. For the sake of time, I will not review each role as they apply to the rare disease landscape. However, I encourage you to reach out to RAM if you'd like to gain further clarity on this topic. Either way, I would like to caution the rare disease industry stakeholders when seeking patient advocacy partnerships to not only seek partnerships with nonprofits. The rare disease nonprofit advocacy landscape is currently extremely siloed and not inclusive of rare disease people of color. For this reason, several industry members have fallen under the false impression that most rare diseases affect white people as opposed to any other group, with the exception of sickle cell disease, which is a disease that affects all varieties of people, but has been inaccurately tagged as a Black person disease. The digital health industry is going to continue to expand. With expansion comes an immense amount of competition. For those digital health companies seeking to survive this intense, inevitable amount of competition in the rare disease space, the community must be allowed to be drivers, not passive collaborators. The digital health industry needs to treat advocacy experts from the community as though they are trusted partners, not simply as a strategic collaborator for the sake of commercialization. RAM is currently the only rare disease organized group on the ground executing diverse and inclusive engagement solutions within the rare disease landscape. As a network of experts that have members with the skill sets to conduct landscape analysis of communities prior to commitment, for those companies that choose to partner with Rare 360 or any RAM collaboration effort, they must agree to abide by a code of conduct. However, the Rare 360 program goes one step further to secure the community's interests by requiring digital health companies to agree to a set of moral business practices as well. Not every digital health platform will qualify to partner with the Rare 360 program, but those that do will understand the importance of incorporating the needs of the patient community in research goals. Those that do will be fair with the community experts used to leverage their research. Those that do will embrace financial transparency practices such as revenue sharing agreements with key patient groups. And finally, those that qualify to partner with the Rare 360 program will be equipped with skilled, comprehensive experts to help decide how their digital health goals relate to industry requirements and real world patient community incentives, not just the incentives that industry advocates think will incentivize community engagement. As a final take home message, to effectively integrate a digital health solution into a rare disease community, you must be human focused and work with trusted comprehensive advocacy experts from the rare disease community to understand the concerns and incentives of the community regarding data collection. Not all digital health platforms dedicated to rare diseases will have what it takes to survive this competitive landscape. However, one thing is for certain: those that do survive will have the community on their side. For those of you interested in learning more about any RAM collaboration, please feel free to send inquiries to RAM's email, which is on the slide. And that concludes my presentation. I hope it proved to be insightful for all of you, and I look forward to answering any questions.